others to our team. And our team is really an amazing team. It expands all over the globe. And we've become like a big family with many, many things in common. The greatest thing in common that we have is our love for natural healthcare and natural products and natural solutions. And that's how we all discovered this amazing company called doTERRA. And we've been really privileged to work with doTERRA over many years. I myself have a natural healthcare background. I had a clinical background, and I discovered doTERRA, and I was so excited to find out how pure these oils are, uncompared to anything else I'd ever used. And then so many jumped in and said, "Oh, I'm interested too." And I'd like to introduce you and others to some of our team members who have really worked very, very hard to get the word out about doTERRA. The first person I'd like to mention is Caroline. You see her picture there. And Caroline Giraldo, she and her family have jumped into doTERRA, and they've worked very, very hard. They're the ones putting on the Zoom calls for us. And so Carolyn's group spans, she's from Colombia, South America, and her group spans into South America and also jumps over to Canada and then Spain and England and Israel. So we need a drum roll for Carolyn and all the work that she has done. We're just so grateful. And then the next person I'd like to mention is Anna Catherine and Bodo Siegele. And I just am so honored to be their friends, and they're more like family. And I've never seen people work so hard to get the word out in Germany and see it exploding in Germany. And thank you, Anna Catherine, for making the connection with Murray so that we could get to meet you, Murray, and hear about your work. And then I'd like to mention Abigail Sapir. She's not on the screen here, but she's here in Israel, and actually my neighbor, and she's been working quite hard to get the word out. And then we have a Dr. Gordon and his wife Hanina as part of our team there in Shiloh in Samaria. And we go from one part of the Israel to the other. I live on the Mediterranean Sea, and we have Lorena, who's also a team player here, and she's in Beersheba in the desert. So we have spanned the area all over Israel, getting this word out, and in Jerusalem as well. And so we come from, and I'm sure I'm missing a lot of people, but anyway, we are a big, big family, a big team, and we love each other. And the best part is serving others and helping others get educated about what doTERRA has to offer, what it is, why it's different. And we're grateful and honored to have you tonight. And thank you so much for taking your precious time to share with us, Murray. And I think we need a drum roll or something special for you. Thank you, and God bless. Go ahead.
No, thank you, Jody. First of all, I just want to get a thumbs up if everybody can hear me clearly. If I'm coming across okay. Good. That's always the first rule of technology. If we can hear each other. I wish, and I love the theme of this around family, because we are one big doTERRA family. And I thank you again, Jody. Thank you for the people that are translating into the different languages, into Spanish and Hebrew and German. This is fantastic. And I always preface some of my introduction that I do feel and see you in my mind's eye, and I feel you in my heart. And so I jumped on about 45 minutes ago and got to know some of the team. I love that the team is spread out. You know, I heard Israel and Colombia and Canada and the UK and Germany and many countries. I'm originally from Canada. But I have a mother that's American, and myself, I've I've lived in about 8 countries. And so it's a pleasure to be with you, even though you're in different countries. I feel a connection, and just coming off of Global Convention where the theme was connection, it was amazing just to hear and feel and see that inspiration coming through. So I have a wonderful family. I know somebody was maybe going to put a picture of my family on the screen. If they could do that, that would be great. If it's not possible, that's okay as well. But I first have to thank my wife Heidi, because she connected with Anna Catherine and said, this day will come where we'll get together and have a presentation and share some thoughts and feelings. So I've been with doTERRA 6.5 years. I know there's going to be a kind of a question and answer, and I'm happy to share vision and things that we are working on. Oh, there's my family. So this just kind of gives you an idea of I have four children, 4 grandchildren, 2. This was taken last year, and so 2 new grandchildren in the last 3 months. And you can see my lovely wife Heidi there, and so you can get a sense of who I am a little bit. And so that's a quick introduction for myself. I'm happy to jump into, I think there's 2 or 3 segments of interaction. So I'm anxious. I'm willing to share and speak to anything that would be helpful for this wonderful family, this wonderful team that you've brought together.
This is so wonderful, Morey. Thank you so much. Actually, I first met your wife in Bulgaria, and before I learned who is Morey Smith, I had the honor to get to know Heidi, and this is what I love about doTERRA so much, that the leaders are approachable and really caring leaders. This is my experience, and yeah, again, thank you so much. Behind every great man stands a great wife, a supportive wife. And so this is really great to experience, you know, how you work together this way.
Yeah,
So,
thank you for that. Yes, we do. We're a partnership for sure.
mm-hmm. Yes. So yeah, we have some questions for you, Morey, concerning 3 areas. It's the area of health, business, and vision. And I would like to ask you, how did you get in touch with essential oils for the first time?
You know, that's a great question. As I was preparing for this a little bit, my first answer would have been probably about 15 years ago. But as I was thinking about it, it was as a child. As a child, my mother, when I had maybe a cold or a flu, she would use a special rub and put it on my chest. And maybe many of you have experienced the same. One ingredient in that product was eucalyptus. And eucalyptus was helping with opening up the airways. And so that was my very first childhood memory with oils. I lived in Hong Kong for a short period of time, and they had I speak Chinese, but in English, it's called a white flower oil. And it has things like eucalyptus, peppermint, it has spearmint. So that was back in 1984, but I first experienced real oils in 2007 as I was joining doTERRA, because I had been with another company, but the first time I experienced true special, you know, trusted oils was in 2007. And men are skeptical, and I've had lots of experiences that have confirmed that these are they're inspired. they're from the earth, they're from Mother Nature, and they're very inspired. So.
Wonderful. Maury, another personal question. What oils helped you most personally during your journey with the oils?
So I have different parts of my life. When I do sports, I'm getting a little bit older, as we all do. And so I love the combination when I exercise after. I use things like Aroma Seas, and I use frankincense, I use deep blue, I use lemongrass. And then I always, this is my feeling, but on top of that combination, I always put peppermint, because I think peppermint is the great oil that elevates and accentuates everything else. And so when I do sports, I love that. Right now, my favorite 2 oils right now, because if you ask me in a week, it might be something different, but I love Cheer. I love Cheer because we're in Munich, Germany, and it just makes me happy. And my go-to oil is always frankincense.
Wonderful.
And Murray, what are the greatest aspects of doTERRA oils, and how do they differ from other companies from your life experience?
Yeah, thank you for that question, Boda. So it's really in the whole process. It's in how we source it. As Emily and others would put it, it's on both sides of the bottle. So it's working with the farmers, the people that have the experience, and then we have solutions for people that, whether it's emotional well-being or other things in their life that they need help with, we have product solutions. So what makes it so unique to me is every time Dr. Hill says CPTG, I think of that as the fingerprint. It's the fingerprint of the most tested, most trusted oils in the entire world. And I've been around some of the biggest oil companies for the last 12, 13 years. So to me, it's that both sides of the bottle and all the processes and all the testing and all of the pursuit of purity that we're always trying to achieve. So that's what makes it different. So it's remember the sourcing, remember the testing, and use them every day. And when you get that going, you know what's different.
Very trustworthy.
Yes, very trustworthy. Yes.
Yes. And I just want to ask you right away, straight away. You also worked for Young Living before. This is a subject where people really get diverse sometimes, and I liked when I talked to Heidi some time ago. She was like, well, we are so grateful because we got in touch with oils more, and so I really like this humble attitude. And since you know both companies pretty well, can you say something more about that? Because we wellness advocates, we meet people from here and there, we are far away, and maybe you can share a little bit of your thoughts on that.
Sure, no, I'd be happy to. It's a very interesting question. I do know 5 of the owners before I joined doTERRA. The only 2 owners I didn't know were Emily and Dr. Hill. And so when I joined doTERRA, I knew I knew that they were doing something very special, and And maybe I'll share some things that I don't normally share. Two stories about my interaction with Dave Sterling. So when Dave Sterling was at Young Living and having a conversation with Gary Young, Gary Young said to Dave Sterling, "You know, Dave, these oils are bigger than any one individual or any one company." And Dave at that moment, and there's a lot of backstory and so forth, but Dave kept that in his mind, and he knew that Young Living was doing some good, but there could be a better way. There could be a different way to make sure that there was no chance of adulteration, that there was sourcing that was exclusive, that we worked with the farmers, that the masses needed to hear about essential oils in a different way. And so that was the first interaction. The second one was very interesting. May 20th, 2017 or 2018, Gary Young passed away. And I was with Heidi and I was with Dave Sterling in Moscow for the opening of doTERRA Russia. And we both woke up that morning and we talked about our feelings, and we said, you know, Dave, you and I and Heidi would not be standing here in Russia with doTERRA if it wasn't for Young Living. And so there's lots of opinions. What I'll say is I'm grateful for my journey. And I think if we're grateful for our journey, whether sometimes it's painful or sometimes we feel like there's a better way to do it, I'm never one to disparage individuals or companies because they're trying to do it their way. We just believe that doTERRA was meant to be. So
Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing, Maury. What really impressed me when I started as a wellness advocate with doTERRA was when I read the guidelines and getting a glimpse of the foundational values. I read, for example, we don't speak inappropriate and bad about competitors. So I really liked that, and I could see many biblical principles reflected on doTERRA's agenda. Would you like to share your own experiences on that?
sure, yeah, I hate to use the word like industry or this is MLM, but we're helping people. And my journey started in 1990 with a company called Nu Skin. And I was there for 16 years. And then I was with Young Living, and I consulted for a couple of other companies. And I'll just say this, when companies and people, when they do things the right way, it's beautiful. When companies and people do things the wrong way, then it's hard. But it's not our job to criticize or judge. Our job is to focus on how we can do the best with the gifts that doTERRA has given us. And so some people say, tell me about the quality of this company's oils. And I say, I don't know, because I don't know their processes. I don't know how they source. All I know is how doTERRA does it, and I've seen it in very great detail, and I can trust it. Like Boda said, it's trustworthy. And so, you know, people have their different journeys, and it's not for us to criticize.
Thank you.
Right.
doTERRA's founders started the business during a very difficult time economically in 2008. I heard them talk about how they labeled the bottles with their own hands and had to think of a name and strategies. Can you take us a little bit into that time, or and how it has been for you personally joining that adventure?
No, it's so I don't share this story too often, but I was working at Young Living, watching doTERRA from the very beginning, and I was very curious. And I sent Heidi, my wife, to the second meeting ever in doTERRA in 2008. And she came back and she told me about Dr. Hill and how exciting. And this was very, very early in the beginning of it. And she goes, one day you're going to be part of that company, I know. And I, you know, it was interesting because in 2013, for about 6 months, she kept telling me, talk to Dave Sterling, talk to Dave Sterling. And I ignored her for about 4 or 5 months, but I texted Dave, and then that started my journey with doTERRA. But, you know, they wore many hats, different from what I did when I came in. But if you hear their story and their sacrifice, what it means to me is you get a little bit emotional, because I asked Dr. Hill one time, you know, what's your vision for the future? And he says, if this company and these principles with doTERRA, he goes, if they don't outlive me, he was talking about himself, if they don't outlive me and the owners and the employees, if it doesn't become a legacy, then we've failed. And so the reason I love doTERRA is because all of those owners created the foundation of 12 years that we now, it sounds strange, we now can build upon that. And it almost feels like we're starting on that foundation of 12 years. And so to me, it's very special to talk to the owners and know the sacrifice that they went through.
Mark, when you came into doTERRA, what has your vision been back then?
It was interesting because when I talked to Dave Sterling on a Monday before Thanksgiving, I thought I would talk for about 10 minutes. It ended up being 2 hours. And then he said, Murray, what job are you interviewing for? And I said, I'm not interviewing. I had a good job. I was providing for my family. He goes, no, you need to join doTERRA. And they hired me initially to be the managing director or the GM for Hong Kong and Asia. And 3 weeks later, I quit before I started. So I said, no, this is not right. I quit. I quit doTERRA. And then we came back around and they said, no, you're supposed to work with Europe. And so my message is to people out there, you know what? Don't quit before you get started. Give it a chance. And so when they told me Europe, I said, okay, let's do it. And it was very small. We had to do everything. There was just a handful of employees. So I felt a little bit like the owners, but I certainly did not sacrifice the same. But from those 10 or 15 employees back in 2013, 14, we have close to 400 employees supporting the whole region. And so
Wow,
you can see how it's grown.
amazing.
That's amazing. And yeah, can you tell us a little bit more about the sacrifices, because it feels similar living in shattered times today as well. Can you take us back a little and talk a little more about, if you can, what what it meant, really to build something like doTERRA from scratch?
So for the owners or for myself? For the owners?
What, yeah, if you can, for the owners, also for you, like you wish.
Yeah, if you watch Global Connection, I think the owners did a really good job telling that story. And they went to New York City. They were going to get investors that would invest in doTERRA, and lots of people wanted to invest. There was at least 2 companies that wanted to invest, and it did not feel right to Dave Sterling and Emily and Dr. Hill and Greg. The other owners came on sometime afterwards, but Dave, as they came out of some of those meetings, they realized they had to do it themselves. If they wanted to do the vision, if they wanted to change the world. So it was 2008, and the crisis was real. And Dave would ask Dr. Hill, how much money do you have? Emily, you need to go to the bank right now, and you need to use your house as collateral to keep us going. And so there was a time when they were down to about $5,000. And so they had to go find more money on their own. I really wish I could take an hour and tell you some of the spiritual side of it, because I think it's a spiritual journey that Dave Sterling went on along with the other owners. And I'll just say this, Dave Sterling had done things in his life, financially, emotionally, spiritually. He has 9 children, a big family, but he did things early in his life where he was very conservative with money, paid off his house, and he did not like debt. And so there's a journey that they went on in different ways where they took literally everything they had and put it on the line. Their families, even some of their siblings, Emily talks about some of her family saying, you're crazy. You're going to be homeless. You're going to lose everything. And so when you talk to these owners individually or collectively, it gets really emotional. It gets really emotional because they knew it was going to work, but there's always those doubts in your mind. And it's the same thing in our lives, our journeys. We know that we have potential, but then these doubts come in, and they just kept going forward. So the sacrifice was enormous, and the pressure was immense.
Wow.
This is really touching to hear. And as I learned, still doTERRA right from the beginning started to give up, right? Give money back.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I think that's one of my favorite quotes lately is, there's lots of keys to success, but I believe giving is the master key to success. And I think it's the master key in all applications of human life. When we can give, sometimes sacrifice almost everything, it usually comes back tenfold. And the more we give, the more we receive. And so from the beginning, they knew they had to give back, and that's where Healing Hands and other things came in.
Yeah, this is really amazing. And yeah, now again, as I mentioned, we live in very shattered times. And as someone who has the heart to work very closely together with wellness advocates, what is your vision for those who just started the business these days?
You know, my vision is that we have the heart and the soul of the company is the same as it was 12 years ago. When I share numbers, behind numbers are people, individuals, families with hopes and dreams and the wish for a better life. And whether that's their health, their wellness, maybe there's emotional needs, maybe there's financial needs. I'll just put it this way. I know because I put my heart and soul into it, and patience is a very big key. Rob Young, when I said I quit before I started, Rob Young will say it this way: you got to give it time. Too many people quit too soon. If they would just know that if they would have taken one or two more steps and into the light, into the success, it would have been worth it. But too many of us get impatient. So whatever your wishes and hopes and things, Dave Sterling always makes a strong statement. You can put your heart and you can put your soul into doTERRA, and if you're patient, you will not be disappointed. So for every new person that joins, I say the same thing. You put your heart, your soul, your time, your energy, and have some patience, you won't be disappointed. It was the same for me. Not a big sacrifice, but when I joined doTERRA, I had other offers for more money to join other companies. But I saw the vision after talking with Dave, and I saw the long-term possibilities. So behind all the numbers and all the statistics are real people, real lives. We just started Diamond Club, and I'll just share. We looked at the performance. There's I don't know who it is, but there's a lady in Germany that has helped 48 people join the doTERRA family in the first 15 days of Diamond Club.
Wow.
And so that's almost better or much better than when we started Diamond Club in 2014. So people are helping other people, and it continues to fascinate me. During COVID-19, we're growing faster than we expected. We have not laid off one employee. We actually, in the month of September, we just hired between the UK, Munich, and Russia. I think it was about 8 employees. So we're hiring more, we're growing more. So for the new person, jump in, learn about the oils, share them, use them, and you won't be disappointed.
Mari, in terms of encouragement, as a business mainly dominated by women, how would you encourage men to invest in the doTERRA business, to be all in?
No, that's a great question. Men are skeptical. But I've looked at this, and what happens is the woman, my wife is right, I would say all the time. And when men are skeptical, but if they use the oils, and I love fascinating stories where people just share, and then I think Jody talked about it. People came and then they get a commission check, and they said, you know, what is this commission check? Where did it come from? why? And it's not all about the money, but when you help people, the more people you help, then more people are blessed. And so I think with men, if they can use the products, I talked about the oils. I didn't even talk about the nutritional supplements, but use the products, feel the benefits. If you're doing this and building a team, men become less skeptical when that first commission check comes.
That's one thing. And
Yeah, and I think, you know, when you can get to a point where you can replace your income, then it's a choice. You get to choose, okay, I can support my family. Do I want to not do my day job, so to speak? And so it's a journey. The encouragement I would have is we are so people focused and product centric, and the model is so clean and it's so strong. I've been doing this for 30 years. And so I know every kind of compensation plan. I know every kind of retention rate. I know every kind of consumption and benefits. And we have all of those things that will help men be encouraged to know that this is a solid company. Unlike it, I wouldn't be here and I wouldn't want to go anywhere else. So men will go on their own journey, and if they just follow their good partner or wife or spouse, then it all falls into place.
Thank you very much, Murray. So on our side, we are counting the days that Bodo is only a few days, and then he's all in as well. So we love to do doTERRA as a couple.
yes, very much. 1.5 weeks
Yes.
more, and then
Really?
yeah, and then I'm
Wow.
free up. Great.
Yeah, no, I love to hear that. And I'm very excited for you because
Thank you.
as you get to work together, my wife and I, even though my wife's not an employee, there's no separation between my wife and I and doTERRA. So
Great.
We
That's
can
fantastic.
feel that. Yes.
yeah.
And Maury, what is the most beautiful thing, speaking of vision, that you see unfolding with doTERRA?
You know, I see, I'll share a story from Switzerland where one of the pioneers in Switzerland has four sons that have, they're on the autistic scale, one level or another, all four of them. And she works so hard, and underneath her and her downline is a diamond. And this diamond and this silver upline have such a beautiful relationships. Sometimes I hear the opposite, where the downline is complaining about the upline. But what I love is that it's not an either or. It's a togetherness. So what I see is families changing, individuals changing. I remember when I started at doTERRA, our highest level of rank was gold. There was no platinums, no diamonds, no blue diamonds, no presidential diamonds. And we worked with some of the first people, and I remember seeing one of our first diamonds. She could not even get up on stage and say her name without being just gripped with fear. And so we would push her up there and we'd say, just introduce yourself and your partner. The next time you're going to share about your first oil. The next time you're going to teach a little story. Now this lady can get up on a stage for 2 hours, 3 hours, and help so many people. That's magic. That's the magic of our culture is even though we have essential oils and wonderful products, we are in the people we empower people to really progress and fill their potential. So I've got 100 stories I could tell, but the magic of it is the culture, the impact in all the areas, co-impact sourcing, healing hands, all those things.
Great, great.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Moray, to answer all the questions. There are more to come, and I will just pass to Caroline. She will explain how it works.
Sure.
Okay, so we want to make the most of that Murray is with us, and you, our dear attendees, have a chance to ask your question to Murray. So at the bottom of your toolbar, you have a button that has the initials Q and A. If you click on there, you can send us your question in writing, and we will answer it. We will filter through the questions. So we have a few minutes left, about 10 minutes left. So make the most, ask your questions. You can ask your question if it's in Spanish or if it's in German or if it's in Hebrew as well. Yeah, we can find a way. So feel free, write your questions in there. And okay, so while, and Catherine helps me there, I would like to ask Murray a question that I've had from many of my downline, and that is, in the current season that we're in, we are in an unforeseen health situation, right, worldwide. How has doTERRA, you mentioned just a minute ago that doTERRA has been growing. You haven't put any, fired any staff. Tell us from a product perspective, what's been the reaction in the market? What's been happening during this pandemic with doTERRA?
Yeah, we're trying to keep up with the products in stock. I'll use one example. doTERRA is growing. Some countries grow faster than others, but overall we're growing at the moment, year to date, at 54%. Our goal was 35%.
Wow.
We now do more in 1 month than we did in all of 2014 and 2015 combined. So one example is On Guard. You guys love On Guard? On Guard's like, I love On Guard.
Yeah.
You've got the oil, you've got the throat drops, you've got the hand sanitizers,
Yeah.
you've got the internals, you've got, you've got the foam, you got every kind of delivery system for the On Guard. And so we're growing at 54%. On Guard is growing at 110%. So some products are growing twice as fast as the overall sales. And so you can imagine we are working around the clock to keep everybody in stock with On Guard. And it's a challenge because not only is Europe expanding, but think of every other country in doTERRA. So that's one key kind of fun thing that's happening. And again, we can't make claims or talk about certain things, but people connect the dots. People know that On Guard supports and makes healthy people healthier. And so we can say that it supports our healthy bodies, and it makes us healthier. And so On Guard is a fantastic product. We're looking at other products in the future. So COVID, I'll just give one example. We were going to have a convention in Rome in May, in person. 45 days before that, we realized we had to shut it down. So in 45 days, we had to switch from doing an in-person convention with 8,000 people to an online convention with 20,000 people. So,
Wow.
And if you've seen the global connection, the content, the visual, the training, it's amazing the team of people and the talent we have to shift, because I was in Europe, in Tenerife, and then I did 3 meetings in Bulgaria. And then everything started to shut down, and I was supposed to go to Poland, but we got shut down. Everybody had to go home. And our convention was in Italy, the one spot at that time that was having the worst problems. And so despite all the challenges, I think what people really miss is being together face to face, giving somebody a hug, being able to connect in that very personal way. And that's part of the doTERRA culture. But until that time that we can get together, I'm amazed at technology. And I just have to give the whole team, Jody and Caroline and Anna Catherine and Abigail and Boda and there was Dr. somebody, I can't remember. But I have to give you guys kudos, because I listened to you prepare for about an hour before this, and the amazing coordination and connection and professionalism and different languages. Even though we're not in the same room, I hope we can all feel each other's energy and excitement. And so we just continue to move forward and look forward to that day when we can be together. So that was a long answer to a simple question.
Thank you, Maury. Here's a question I actually hear a lot in Germany too.
Sure.
So it's Christina. She's asking, my female German customers and I are enthusiastic about the products and natural solutions enabled by doTERRA. Unfortunately, there are many critical questions about the plastics used to package nearly every product except the essential oils, like Lifelong Vitality and hair products. There is a conflict between the natural products she's writing without synthetics and their covering in plastics. Are there any plans to get more sustainability and natural packaging types?
Yeah, that's a great question. We're always trying to lead the way. So I'll first answer, except for certain products, when you get your packages, we've tried to pull out, like in the kits, we've pulled out the plastic inserts, and we've pulled out the bubble wrap and the plastics in the actual boxes where your products come in. And so, except for a few products dictated by governments where we have to put an absorbent material and a Ziploc bag, we've made great progress that way, and we've led the way in Europe because of your voices and your concerns. So that was a first step. And then we are looking for ways to, move away from these plastics, even though there is a recyclable number on there that we can recycle. The options get limited as we go along, but we are exploring different ideas. What I would love to hear is in your different countries, and maybe you can work through Anna Catherine and send her emails. If you see other companies doing things in different ways, we will always look at what are the best options out there. There are some concerns with plastic, obviously, but there's also concerns with balancing that with safety and other things. And so if we had all the magical solutions, we would implement them now. But we're making progress as much as we can. And we actually, Jared Auger and I have been talking about, refillable pouches and other things that would not be as environmentally damaging, or would package them in a better way so that the natural products and the package they go in they align better. So we continuously look at ideas to do better in that area. If you do see things that you think other companies are maybe doing the right thing, send us those ideas. We're very open. We love ideas and we love to improve.
Thank you very much. Yeah, the refill option is a very great idea also for the baby line. That's great.
Yeah, we are doing some refill options for a few of our products in the process right now. So refilling is the right way, and then we're looking at other options as well. Yeah.
Awesome.
Great, great.
Wonderful. Another question is, we love products of the month. We love them so much that we want to keep buying them, but we understand that doTERRA maybe uses the product of the month, the free one that comes in with an 125 point value order.
Yeah.
You use them maybe as to test new oils or new production. So I know that a lot of my downlines said they love Naioli, and they said, how can we get Naioli? We want it back. We want it back. So maybe you could explain what's the process for doTERRA? Is there a time that we have to wait, or how does it work with the free product of the month?
Yeah, so the free product of the month, you explained it perfectly. You have to be on the loyalty rewards program. You have to have 125 PV order before the 15th. And then you receive that wonderful product of the month. We do LTOs, which are limited time offers. So sometimes we want to see sometimes how a product will do in a market. And so sometimes we will do a limited time offer or use it as a product of the month. I'll take a note on that for the one you mentioned, Naioli. So
Naioli, yes.
So those are feedback that helps us, because sometimes here's an interesting thing, for those that do build a team and do receive a commission, about 78% of your commissions are coming from essential oils. And so that's a really key thing, that sometimes people want this type of product or this type of product, or why don't we do all things? Why don't we have a sunscreen? And why don't we have this? The core of who we are in our DNA, it still comes back to the basics that people are using, consuming. They love the oils. And so that's an interesting number for some of you that may be building a business, receiving a commission check. So
yeah,
I've taken a note there. Caroline, thank you and I'll follow up on that one tomorrow, in fact, and see where we can make some improvements there.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
There is another question about dishwasher tabs. When On Guard is growing, will there be dishwasher tabs?
Yeah, see, that's one of those. So it's interesting. I'll just pull the curtains back a little bit. I do get to sit in meetings with the owners and people like Rob Young, and Rob gets very passionate and says, okay, I need to know the rules behind what we're going to do and what we're not going to do. And that's a great one. I mean, dishwasher tabs with essential oils. I think that's the first time I've heard that one. That's very creative. So I will take a note of that. But again, it's kind of, what do we want to be at doTERRA? And do we want to be, all things to all people with all products? And I think the answer is no. I think the answer is we want pillars around solutions. We want pillars around well-being. We want pillars around immune systems. We want pillars around, and then in those pillars, we want hero products, like On Guard is a hero product. And then we build a whole product line around On Guard. Deep Blue is a hero product. And then we build products around Deep Blue that makes sense. And so that's probably the way forward for doTERRA. But that's a great question. I've never heard dishwasher tabs. I'm going to talk to my wife Heidi and see if she likes that idea.
But Maury, that's no problem, because we are creative too, and there are a lot of DIYs we can do with On Guard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
But that's the concept going. I hope you can see where we're going, because On Guard is our most popular product line, and it started with the oil, and then it expanded to things that just make sense.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
It looks like we're running out of time here, so I think we're going to have to land the airplane. And, I want to thank you not just I, but we would like to really thank you so much, Murray, for coming on with us tonight or today in some parts of the globe. And we'd also like to give a special thanks for a project that we're about to partake in with the Healing Hands project. And you and Jared Auger decided to help us with serving Holocaust survivors here in Israel, with giving 350 5 ml bottles of lavender and 320 bottles of Balance, and for these precious survivors. And we really want to thank you with all of our heart for generously blessing them this way and allowing us the gift to be able to do that. Thank you. And
Thank
then
you, Jody.
You are so welcome, and I hope you'll come on again with us sometime. We do this kind of a Zoom meeting, a global Zoom meeting every month. And next month we will be on October 14th. I'm just announcing this for everybody about the same time, and we will be having special speakers. And if you have any special desires and you're listening tonight, and you'd like to let us know who you'd like to have speak or what topics you'd like to have covered, please do write to us and let us know. And I want to give a special thank you to all the translators. Let's put up their picture. And thank you, Candido, for the Spanish translation. Thank you, Christian, for German. And Elchai, I love that name, Elchai, thank you so much for the Hebrew translation. And we want to just bless you all. Thank you for coming on tonight. And we hope that you'll be back with us. And we encourage you to tell your friends. Back with us next month. And I hope to meet you in Germany sometime, Maury.
Yeah, come. I'm in Munich now. Come visit us at the office anytime. And
yes, I'm sure we will. Thank you.
Yeah, have a wonderful day, a wonderful evening. Thank you for inviting. It really was an honor to be with you and share a few things. So thank you.
Thank you for your transparency too. I just appreciated that so much. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Adios, amigos, amigas.
Ot.